But now, time for our 60-second idea to change the world. And this week it's from American science fiction writer Elizabeth Moon. Elizabeth, the deal is you have 1 minute, and 1 minute only, to make your pitch to me, Bridget Kendall, and my other two guests, aerial warfare expert Elizabeth Quintana, and War Ethics Authority, David Rodin. And of course you, the BBC World Service audience. So, if you're ready, off you go.
Thank you. If I were Empress of the Universe, I would insist on every individual having a unique ID permanently attached, a barcode, if you will, an implanted chip, to provide an easy, fast, inexpensive way to identify individuals. It would be imprinted on everyone at birth. Point the scanner at someone, there it is. Having such a unique barcode would have many advantages. In war, soldiers could easily differentiate legitimate targets in a population from non-combatants. This could prevent mistakes in identity, mistakes that result in the deaths of innocent bystanders. Weapons systems would record the code of the user, identifying who fired which shot and leading to more accountability in the field. Anonymity would be impossible, as would mistaken identity, making it easier to place responsibility accurately, not only in war, but in non-combat situations far from war. And that's my bright idea for saving the world. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Elizabeth Moon. We've already touched on this idea of the need for greater transparency and accountability on the battlefield. So I guess, as you're saying, this will do something to help it. Actually, this is something which is already happening, isn't it, in America? I think a US company has already been given a green light to implant microchips in humans. I think the idea was to provide medical information in the first place. But I suppose what many people would say is if anonymity is impossible, couldn't this turn into some kind of surveillance system and actually be pretty creepy?
It could. We already have surveillance systems, though. We have the video cameras. We have facial recognition programs. We have RFID chips on the new passports. So the problem is most of these are expensive. It takes a long time to determine someone's actual identity. DNA tests, for instance, work, but they take weeks to come back.
I suppose the point is there a kind of barrier when it comes to the human skin? I mean, we do ship our cats and dogs as pets, but what do you think, Elizabeth Quintana? Is this the future? Chips under the skin, barcodes for all of us, like something off a supermarket shelf?
That's very Minority Report, isn't it? It's, I guess the parallel you do have is in the aerospace world, you have identification, friend or foe, and this is on kind of an RFID signal, and you this is to.
So how does that work?
So it's on all aircraft, commercial or military, and it's to avoid commercial aircraft being accidentally shot down. But the problem comes when it doesn't work, and you don't know who it is. A bit like Minority Report, what happens to those who don't have chips? Do they suddenly become second-class citizens? Is there an underworld? Can you reprogram a chip to make it look like you're somebody else? Who decides if you're bad or if you're good, if you're a valid target or not? I don't know. There's lots of questions I have.
I don't. The big question for me, David, is when it comes to people, and the human skin and your sense of your person, and your right to some privacy. Because don't we all, even soldiers, sometimes want to be anonymous for one reason or another, maybe a romantic reason?
I have to say this,
you have to give that up.
I have to say that this idea absolutely terrifies me, and partly because I think that governments have proven time and time again through history that they will do absolutely awful things with powers that they're given, and I think that it's really important that we maintain the ability to retain our anonymity if we choose so. So I would hate the idea of the government being able to infallibly identify me, and I'm not sure it would do what Elizabeth would like it to do either. So if you think about the problem that she's rightly very concerned with, how you discriminate between combatants and non-combatants on the battlefield, and the issue here is it's not that we can't identify them as the person they are. We know the person they are. The question is what they've been doing, right? And the ambiguity comes about in the kinds of conflicts we have now, because you have people who in the morning are working in a bakery or a shop, in the afternoon they're picking up an AK-47 or planting an IED. Well, that's right, and are moving very ambiguously across this line, and a barcode is not going to help you making that decision.
Fair point, Elizabeth in Texas.
That's a fair point, definitely. And I'm sure that spy agencies wouldn't like it either, since you could no longer infiltrate other people's organizations.
Well, that's right. The
true.
new facial recognition that's available at airports is causing a problem, as I understand, isn't it? Because spies can't have multiple identities to go through security, because they
Right.
can tell by the shape of their cheeks who they are.
Oh, very good.
And we have the problem of people who have a name similar to that of a terrorist who have been put on no-fly list.
Sure, that's
And
right.
perfectly innocent people. A unique identifier would help with that, but how do you keep it unique? How do you keep somebody from hacking that system?
That's true. Okay, well, good idea.
It was
but
a
with
bright
course-
idea for a story. In fiction, it would work.
In fiction, it would work. Yes. I'll look out for it in one of your next novels. Thank you, Elizabeth Moon. And thanks to everyone for their responses to last week's 60-second idea, which was from photographer Nick Danziger. He suggested that all cameras should be limited to one shot per day. So you really have to think before you chose to take that one photo.